TalkRadar 106, kicking off a very giddy cast. I think we should all take note of, we're all happy this time.
Yeah, we're much happier.
Well, I don't know, there's just sort of like an elation going around the office. And I think not only did we do a good job this year, and thanks you guys for reading us, but fucking E3 was kind of stellar.
It was a great show, and we had the tools to cover it well.
Yes.
So,
honestly, this was the best fucking show in years.
Yeah.
Yeah, like outside of all that, like everything was, like Microsoft was like the biggest disappointment, and it was still kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's weird. Like we'll get into this a little later with the awards and stuff, but like it was just weird thinking like the typical stuff that would normally have been the highlights of the show, things like Bulletstorm and Black Ops and Medal of Honor. I'm like, oh yeah, those were also there because I was all this other stuff that I was really interested in.
All overshadowed, and Nintendo just taking everything back.
God, yeah, which we'll get into. But this is, what, 106?
TalkRadar 106. I'm Chris Antista.
I'm Michael Raparez.
I'm still Brett Elson.
And I am always Tyler Wilde.
That was Tyler Wilde. He opened up the episode. He's the intro. Superman in an elevator, a very drunken idea that was executed wonderfully.
And those elevators at the Westin Bonaventure in L.A., all those elevators are used in various movies.
I want to say Last Action Hero, but yeah, definitely In the Line of Fire.
In the Line of Fire,
True
Forget
Lies.
Paris, True Lies,
True
and
Lies.
now TalkRadar.
TalkRadar YouTube.
They should put
Where's our plaque?
Yeah, we need a plaque in the hotel.
We should have. This is the first podcast ever, I think, that we've started recording 4 hours after it was supposed to be live.
Yeah, you should already have it at 7 p.m. on the West Coast, so it's 10 o'clock in New York.
Yeah, technically you should be imagining this right now. We did have a top 7, which we can go through super fast. Can anybody look that up for me?
I've got it in front of me.
What is it, Elston? What was it?
The top 7 reasons game journalists love to hate E3. Which is sad because this year I didn't hate it.
Yeah. Oh, that was the top 7? I thought it was the games. Go ahead.
That was last week.
Okay.
Every week we do a top 7. Hey, this one Monday we were actually on the way. Well, we were actually in LA for E3. So this week's top 7 is handled by Matt Cundy of the UK staff.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt. Number 7 is.
When you mention his name, he can hear you.
I know he can.
Oh, he listens.
The inevitable. Oh, we're also going to make this one kind of short because we want to get the fuck home for once this week.
It's 7 o'clock at night.
Don't expect the full show here.
This is brief because you already got 2 for free this week.
Yeah. Whiskey.
Number 7, the inevitable transformation into an unthinking robot. And it's fuck you, lady.
Girl.
Not for real though, because that would be illegal.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a picture of a robot here just saying "must see more games," and it's kind of just that there's so much on display. There's an overwhelming amount of just audio and visual sensory overload. Like the moment you see something, you want to write it, but there's 7 other things you have to see.
Yeah. I've been trying to write an Epic Mickey preview for the last 2 days.
Yeah, so how many words is it now?
It's almost at 1,000. But to be fair, the majority of people need not read past the first 300.
I did listen to your Warren Spector interview at the end of the last TalkRadar E3 special. It was very good.
So much
because he's such a respected developer. It was just weird to hear him talk about Disney
ridiculous
in a reverent way.
He gave me his business card, and I think I might try and do a follow-up, fuck it, just narcissistically long.
Oh yeah, go for it, Mr. Spector. Oh, Cheryl, who has been in a Comic-Con podcast before, is coming in the room to tell us about the assets that we ordered late.
I'm sure it's fine.
Problems.
We are still working as we podcast.
Yes.
How about this?
This is all coming together.
Chris is now checking some art he requested.
Yeah. Cheryl, come here for a second. Cheryl needs to know about some art situation. Come here and talk.
Hi.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, TalkRadar. Hi, guys. We missed you guys while you were gone.
We missed you, too.
Aww.
Was it just deadly quiet? Or
yeah,
was it just,
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty depressing.
It was crickets.
What did you do with the lack of dick jokes?
Yeah.
We talked about babies.
Babies?
Instead.
Oh, I'd imagine that would.
Babies. And I brought breakfast for the boys.
I'm sure the staff of pregnancy was the only one left in the building.
Pretty much. That was pretty much it. Okay, I'm going to leave now because it's bye. It's only I know, but I'm
But she has a life and
What kind of workaholic are you?
I'm tired.
Love you, Cheryl. Sorry.
Bye.
That's sort of what's great about all of this because I'm still flying on that E3 high, and you were talking about that, Tyler, that there's like nothing else matters for 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we don't have to look at the news, take phone calls from our relatives.
Oh,
Yeah, I was telling you, like, I was tired and my feet hurt and my knees hurt, but this is fun because people have tried to contact me, and I am legitimately like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I have like 3 voicemails. One's from my dad. Sorry, I don't care. I just am focusing on this for like 3 days, and there's a relief to that.
I will be homeless in possibly 12 days. And my roommate texts me and like, I don't have fucking time for this. Nintendo is having a press conference. Nintendo is having press conference. What's number 6?
So that's the unthinking robot.
Whoops.
Number 6 is the appointment clusterfuck.
Yes, that's always very bad.
Which is, yeah, I mean, you can only physically be in so many places at the same time.
Yes.
It's a very good fart. I don't think it picked up, but wow,
that was a cluster.
Nice and wet.
It was like how it came out of a fart machine. Just brap. Textbook fart.
It came out of me. I am a fart machine. Hi, what were we talking about?
The appointment clusterfuck.
Yeah, that's always an issue.
It's just like we all walked in there with a bunch of set appointments. Everything is late. Everything runs late, runs long. My Mortal Kombat appointment, if you've read my Twitter, was interrupted by George Lopez, who ran in with I'm not kidding, an entourage of 20 people, like 6 of them in suits, a lady with a makeup bag the size of a child. His daughter, who was like, I want to see all the games and skip all the lines, and then like 4 other dudes with not slacker, but they look like the slacking video crew, like a ponytail that he's had tied back since he was 19.
Yeah.
And he's, man, set up these lights in here. We're going to talk about Mortal Kombat. I don't know. Apparently, he must be a gamer because I don't know what the angle was. His show on TBS. That's hilarious.
Yes,
if I may. And nobody's looking at me. Everyone's looking at their screens.
I'm sorry. I've still got more work to do.
So I'll just take the rest of this podcast and tell you all about...
No!
Let me tell you about Jim Varney.
I ran into...
Who was not Slinky Dog in Toy Story 3.
I know. Which I'm not seeing right now. I ran into Steven Seagal, and he hates me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he totally... God, that look in that video...
His eyes really squint.
He looks right into the camera and does the sinister Steven Seagal squint. Not a happy camper.
Yeah, do you have any dramatic sound effects you could use to illustrate that point?
Let's see, shall we?
I'm Steven Seagal and my eyes are squinting.
And the woman he was with just scooted away instantly.
I'll take you to the bank, Senator. The blood bank. That is a Steven Seagal line from verbatim Above the Law.
Let me tell you about my energy drink.
I think it's parallel to the law.
It's not working well enough because he's a big man. I'm going to go on to number 5 because I'm tired.
Perpendicular to the law?
Yeah.
Number 5 is, I got to go to the next page. Hang on. Oh, by the way, if you're reading top 7s every week, we have a tag functionality on the site now, right? Mm-hmm. If you look on the bottom, they all say top 7. All of our top 7s now have that tag. So if you just click on top 7, there's your list of every top 7 we've ever done. Same thing for TalkRadar. Same thing for any iPhone story. Same thing for, I believe, Game Music of the Day, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know, maybe. TalkRadars all have that, so if you want to find them all and the compendinarium is somehow not handy enough for you, there's another option.
And then there's also some just kind of scattered other tags, like behind the scenes interviews. So
there's some other
find content
tags in there.
You can do that.
Navigation, people. Number 5 is queuing up to play games, which I don't have to worry about because I have I have appointments. I'm sorry.
Hell yeah.
First of all, I don't queue. I line.
But it's still. I had the same issue in Comic-Con. I'm still incredibly uncomfortable, asking people get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah,
even though it's completely fucking necessary.
I got over it after the first day because I realized all these people from GameStop and whatever, and that's great, have your fun, but I have a job to do.
Yeah,
you're just enjoying it my boss told me to be here now.
Yeah, the difference is, I went to 2 E3s for fun. I got in through various means and was there for no one but myself. And I stood in the lines. It took forever, but I managed to finagle a media badge, so I got to skip some lines. Right. But most of them I still had to stand in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I watched the press people boot me out in front, and they get to go first. I'm like, God damn it. But then I knew I didn't have to write anything when I got done. I'm just going to go, E3. And Whereas now, on the other end, I'm like, no, I really do need to skip these lines because I have things like deadlines and 17 other things I got to do today.
And it's officially something I will be yelled at for. Should I?
Yeah, I will get harassed if I do not skip this line. You will all just be late for your nothing that you have to do.
So my boss's grumbling means more to me than your stupid grumbling.
I mean, I feel like a jerk.
I do
feeling all entitled.
I do feel
it's not
sorry.
bad. I just am trying to do my job
because having been on both sides of that, I can definitely understand. But like, I got Chris in to play not Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword.
Mm-hmm.
I just walked up and said, "Hey, this guy needs to play Skyward Sword."
You know what we should do? We should go to Disneyland.
Yeah, I know. It was. I couldn't believe that fucking worked. Like,
we should go to Disneyland and tell them that we're amusement park journalists.
Fucking amusement.
I want to ride about this ride here. Can you?
What would that be? Amusement park journalists? Perk journalists?
Apparently someone, I don't know who was talking about it, apparently someone was just walking up to the 3DSs and playing them through the VIP line.
Oh, really?
And he did it over and over again.
Really?
Like someone with our company, probably a UK magazine.
Huh.
And he would get other people in too.
Mm-hmm.
I got several people in, but there's still a little bit of a line to go through. Even for the line jumpers, there was a separate line.
So many lines.
But I do understand number 5, queuing up to play games, because unless you have an appointment, it is a long, long wait for the 3DS line. It looked like 2 hours.
Ridiculous.
It looked like 2 hours or something, and to play Skyward Sword looked like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Luckily, the 3DS stuff was totally worth any amount of time you waited to see it. If you were there, I know I saw Samuel the Geek, and actually ran in, made my day, made my week. 3 or 4 other dudes, like one when I was by myself. And then another, Charlie and I met him at the Mafia 2 booth. I'm sorry if I don't remember your names because it's just one thing in a billion things that are like, writing this down, doing this. Mm-hmm. But that made my week. Like, the fact that anyone recognized us and was like, I love the show, that made me so happy.
Great feeling.
I had a double recognition. One guy recognized me from the show and also from a Sony press conference like 3 or 4 years ago where we'd met. So, Nick Creature, hi, how you doing? Thanks for coming up and saying hello. That was really cool.
Name.
No,
sounds like he's a character in Mortal Kombat.
Nick Creature.
Nick Creature wins.
If I remember right, that dude also has a Creature the Black Lagoon tattoo on his arm,
nice.
so they may be intertwined.
But I did just want to say, like, I spent the week playing the coolest games I've seen in 3 years, and I still was more elated at the fact that people were, like, saying thank you for making TalkRadar.
Yeah,
that made me really happy.
It was almost odd because like Microsoft had all the shit. They had the Halos and the Gears, and it's the stuff I didn't even get close to, playing. It was just like I already know this is going to be awesome. I'm going to try everything else.
Yeah. So number 4.
Hold on,
that's a number.
Minimize Photoshop.
It's the number of the day, by the way.
I am including a giant. Yeah, go ahead.
It really is a lot of hard work, actually. And there's a picture here of George Walter sitting on the floor next to a trash can.
I remember that.
This is again where I feel like I don't want to come off as like self-aggrandizing and self-pitying, but it really fucking is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Like, it's a 15-hour day, 4 days in a row, usually going off calories that were not meant to be consumed.
I didn't eat. Most days I didn't eat like anything except maybe a candy bar until 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And then I went
it was weird, like
on an empty stomach.
And it's not like sitting there playing games on no stomach. It's running around, physically exerting. It's not, and then taking notes furiously, and then going to the next thing, taking more notes, sitting down, writing up this thing, sending it, writing up this thing, sending it. I need to get assets for this. Oh, got another appointment, and then I'm also trying to run shit in the war room. So I'm like, where did you get? Oh, Eric's not here, so I gotta do. Oh, what's the phone ringing? What? No.
And I mean, if you want to eat, you don't have time to leave the convention center, so you have to wait half an hour in a massive line.
Yeah. And I can't skip the lines for lunch.
No, it doesn't work that way.
I should try that, though.
You should.
I will never, though. I will never be one of those people, do you know who I am? Because I don't care who I ever am. It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. I can't. Anytime I've heard games journalists pull that shit. It's do you know who I am? Nobody knows who you are. Yeah. The most famous games journalist in the world is still nobody.
Still
it doesn't
anonymous.
matter.
You're dumb fuck from the internet. That's who you are.
You're 3-year-old who plays games to everyone else who's not in this industry. So it's not important.
It's funny that you say nobody. Like I was like standing outside smoking, and Adam Sessler came out and he's smoking, and like obviously a bunch of people who were just kind of at the show, weren't journalists, like ran up to him oh, let's take a picture, and he's like, no, I can't do pictures, sorry, I'm just having a cigarette. But he was chatting with them and being nice, and I was thinking like, big time celebrity, all these people coming up to him. He walks down the street anywhere else in LA.
Yeah,
nobody has.
Yeah,
not to knock him, but
so
nobody
depressing.
knows who we are.
Yeah, well, but no, it's good. He doesn't have a big head about it at all.
No, he's a really cool guy. And
yeah,
but it was just funny, like he, seeing all these people fawn over him.
Yeah,
and that's cool. Well, good for him.
Yes. I agree. I don't want it to come off like this number 4. It's a lot of hard work. Like that is the catch. Like it is still a ton of work. And the difference was the past couple of years at Radar we had difficult times getting anything done for technical reasons, or we had to send fewer people. So we hated the last couple a lot more. So like this year we had tools and we had people recognizing us.
Yeah.
And it was really pleasant experience. So this year was
I played Vanquish, a game I did dig by the Bayonetta people.
Yeah, Platinum Games.
I went to this whole presentation. I'm like, I'm about to go play. I'll go play this game. And 3 times members of the European Sega PR kicked me off to allow European press in. And I did want to say, like, I'm doing the same thing.
Right.
Like, just not for you. Like, leave me the fuck alone. Sorry. Story over.
That Mortal Kombat thing, like, I'm standing there, and George Lopez fucking crew is, like, whirling around, and none of the press people are looking at me. And the hands-on was only for, like, E3 judges. Most people didn't get to play it. Mm-hmm. And I was subbing in for Eric in that appointment, so I was supposed to get to play it. So I'm standing in this back room with this, like, I can see Mortal Kombat on display, and no one is playing any of these machines because which one's George Lopez going to sit down at? We don't know, so no one touch anything. So there for 10 minutes.
Really?
And I'm supposed to go see Enslaved in a few minutes, and I'm like, fuck it. So I just pick up a controller and start playing. And I play the game for about 10 minutes before somebody finally is like, so the fatalities.
You don't belong. Oh.
No, he's like, so the fatalities, if you want to.
like, George Lopez wants to play at this machine.
This machine.
Yeah,
he can play me player 2. He can play fucking Molina.
No, he wants to play by himself.
He can
I
fight.
wish I had been in charge of that, so I could have been like, George Lopez, who are you?
George
what?
Lopez.
Because like it sounds like
your
they
show
treated,
got canceled on ABC.
I mean, it sounds like they treated him like he was, oh my God, George Lopez.
I mean, to be
But
fair,
come
he
on.
does have a.
Let's be fair. He's no Carlos Mencia.
Not at all.
No,
Not at all, but who is?
He's who is?
Oh God!
I mean,
feel
he is a
dirty
celebrity
for saying that. Jesus fucking
but like
Christ!
I don't know why I would go nuts over him. But I guess any celebrity. At the
Yeah, I
show
mean, he
gets
is
super
a different.
extreme.
It's a different. Well, when he talks about it, it's a completely different audience that will see it. So
Yeah.
it's like really. I understand.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh, I'm not like bitter at all. It was just more of a what. But it is a lot of hard work.
What you do here?
Well, like for example, here it is at 7:00, 7:10 Friday night after we've worked 4 15-hour days. And we're still recording a podcast.
We're still recording podcasts.
And
we very important.
We've published the second E3 podcast at 1 in the morning, Thursday morning.
Yeah,
which is the same time Chris and I recorded Super Tyler.
Super Tyler.
On the
What's number 3?
Number 3, top 7 reasons games journalists love to hate E3.
Yeah.
Having to suffer all the ass pieces with cameras.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like anywhere you go, anywhere you try to stand, there will always be some guy with a big fucking camera and a tripod and a rig and lights, and they will stand as close to you as possible and basically just crowd you out and occasionally ask you to leave so that they can film their guy playing the game.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
And for me, this was doubly true because there was some fuckhead who kept showing up to like my schedule after the initial press conferences was mostly just go to Sony has these things called breakout sessions where it's like they have a conference room, not a conference room, but like a presentation room, and for an hour they will show off a game and then take questions about the game from journalists.
Cool.
And so I would go to one of these, have an hour to write, go back to another one, have an hour to write, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And two or three of these things, this professional photographer showed up with like a bag full of shit, and he would sit in the front row of the room and then snap a whole shit ton of pictures, still pictures of the presenters and the game with this huge omnidirectional flash bulb.
Oh yeah.
So he's sitting in the front of the room, and it was just like everybody's trying to watch the game, and he's just like going off with these constant flashes that are blinding everyone sitting behind him. It is so ridiculously inconsiderate.
Jerk ass.
Like I was really like it wasn't until the last session I was in with him that they finally said no, we're not allowing any still photography of this.
I mean, what's
he's like, come on, how about can I just shoot this guy? And no.
What's the important part of the session? The words that are coming out of their mouth, or them standing there? Like, I don't understand why you would need photo after photo of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like no here's a developer showing off a game. I don't know why he'd need 40 pictures of that developer.
He works for a stock photography company.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, it's also like in the article he talks about. Like if you're on the show floor playing a game, because like I did try standing in a line to play Castlevania, and I didn't want to bother with the badge, and I should get to play first because I wasn't there for an appointment, and if I'm not there for an appointment, I will stand in the line. But I didn't have time, so I ended up having to just get out of the line and say fuck it because the demos take too long. Mm-hmm. But if trying to do that, some guy walks up with a camera and just starts filming you or filming the game, and it's like, it's the first time I've ever played this game. I probably suck at it, and everybody's going to see me suck at this game. I don't want to say this game. I'm really good at this game. So
pretty sure someone was filming me playing Medal of Honor, and my voice in my head sounded roughly like that.
Yeah. I'm getting all those headshots.
And I think I'm somewhere behind like GameSpot's live feed, chest bumping Chris Waters or doing something. I don't know. We were standing behind there.
Awesome.
Like they have their camera and their stage set up, and we're just standing behind there. And I'm like, I ran into Chris Waters, who
fine
man who works. I don't think he's ever been on the cast, but he used to be an
probably
intern
never
at
will be.
TalkRadar.
No, not unless he
now
leaves.
he's at GameSpot, and he's
him and Sean McInnes. Fine
a fun guy. Yeah, Sean McInnes too, and Simon Whitcomb also.
I saw Simon Whitcomb a couple times.
Simon Whitcomb used to be our publisher.
He's something.
He used to be our boss's boss's boss, as I recall.
He used to be our boss's British.
What is he? He's like
VP of
Interactive
CBS Time Television man. I don't know what he is.
He's a big
muckety muck.
He's CBS of GameSpots,
and I'm his Facebook friend. Huh?
I think I am too.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Who doesn't love Facebook?
From that time when he brought us breakfast burritos
after a 20-hour day.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for staying up and not eating and sleeping. Here's a breakfast burrito. Cost me $1. By the way, I make 6 figures. So,
we love you, Simon. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
I kid because I love. Right. Number 2.
Number 2.
Another picture of George looking miserable. 2. Sharing a hotel room with another games journalist.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Oh, come on.
I don't care. I think they may have some hygiene issues they can't deal with.
Maybe.
But,
I shared with Charlie Barrett, and he was a delight.
I understand. I mean,
of course it is. That place is probably cleaner than when you got there.
It was.
You can never quite drop your guard entirely.
I heard that you and Tyler
expected someone to kill you?
Each other snore.
Yeah, well, and
keep each other up.
Really loud.
And he said the same thing about you, and you both kept waking one another up.
He said you kept waking each other up because you're both snore light sleepers. So it's just like
a really terrible sitcom called The Very Well Matched Couple.
It's like a seesaw of uncomfortable sleep.
Speaking of George Walter just looking sad, George Walter being the EIC in the UK.
The UK. He was down there with us.
Yes. TalkRadar UK.
Someone posted, I posted a photo diary today of this E3, and someone was commented, oh, I just finished reading the one from 2008, and now I see this one on the front page. So I went back and looked at the secret diary, or whatever we called it.
Right.
Fear and
from
Loathing at E3.
Yeah, we changed the name from Fear and Loathing at E3 to, the secret diary, and God, we're so sad.
We're so mad. That was the worst E3. The game, the Nintendo press conference was awful. The show was awful because it was that fake E3 still in the convention center, but it was a tiny show floor and there was no glitz.
It was dead. I think the South Hall was completely closed off.
Yeah, one of the halls. It was like Boating Expo 08 or something in there. Flowertron 08 or something.
But there were all these pictures I didn't remember.
Nothing from Flowertron.
Chris with a.
Well, because it was probably accurate.
I just saw. I've completely forgotten about a picture of Chris in the hotel room with a plushy Blanca and an iron standing on the bed.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That was
we were nuts.
That was us trying to have
so
fun.
Young.
So here's the picture of George Walter in a games journalist room.
Oh, what a sad
sitting Indian style. Native American style. Native American
that's
style.
right.
That's on the site. Top 7 reasons games journalists love to hate E3, but not so much this year. I'm still feeling very good about this.
It's such a great feeling, man.
Obviously, that was written before this E3.
Yeah, it definitely was. And the last 3, 4,
it turned out.
And the 2 I went on my own, 04 and 05. I enjoyed because it was no consequences. I just went.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the crushing defeat of not getting anything. However, I did notice when we were getting on the plane to fly back to San Francisco. I saw some tweets from GameSpot people getting ready to go to the GameSpot rap party. The games website that has a rap party
But whatever. They've been around a while, and I believe they deserve. I believe we deserved it. We just didn't get it.
Yeah. So whatever.
Well, and it's funny, like about E3, and when our boss's boss or whoever talks about it, I never really think about it the way they do, because what happens at E3 affects our company and our success as a company, and I never think about that because we have all these magazines, and if the games industry is looking shit, our magazines stand to suffer, and so does our website. And so, the people, it's also important on that level, and it's frustrating when we see horrible things happen to it that terrify us, because if the games industry takes a dive, so do we.
Yeah.
It's a little terrifying. But it was good this year. So.
It was good this year.
It's fantastic.
Brett, you're like enamored by something on that. Brett's holding an iPad.
I'm literally just flipping the screens up and down, and it's so smooth.
We have an office iPad that we can all use, and Brett's taking a shining to it right now.
It's literally like I'm in Star Trek.
Does this mean you're going to stop making fun of my iPhone?
Never.
Never? All right.
Well, the moment Verizon announces one, I will completely do a 180.
Are we done?
No, we're number one.
Oh, excuse me.
No, we're not.
Chris is working instead of participating.
There's a drum roll that's usually... There it is. And here.
Number one.
Chris, you want to read this one?
No.
Number one reason we're games journalists love to hate E3, because we're games journalists and we love to hate.
Not true.
That's true.
No, it's kind of true. He makes a good point in the first paragraph. When E3 was a giant cacophony of excess and women in bikinis, we hated it. When it changed to a much sober, quieter, low-key affair without women in bikinis, we also hated it.
I was not part of that hate.
It's true.
I was baffled to find out when I got here that all of you hated E3, and that was also the year...
I never hated it. I hated it in 2008. When it was like, the last two were miserable to work at, but I still loved the big thing of it. Because just like my favorite day of working at Toys R Us was the day after Thanksgiving, because it's so fucking busy. Like it's fun to be constantly challenged and have something to do, and I'd rather do that every day of my life than have these days where I'm like, I've got like one thing to do, and I'm going to let it inadvertently let it swell and take longer. I get so much more done if I'm go. And then when at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, I did all this shit. I feel better if I'm constantly motivated to keep moving, So I don't mind all that. But when it's technological issues or these appointments are backed up, Sony having its fuck-ass press conference at noon when the show floor opens, so we've got appointments the same time Sony's announcing shit. So half the fucking games industry doesn't know what Sony's announcing because they're in appointments on the show floor.
Like I did a bunch of on-camera interviews that most of them aren't posted yet, but... Like, I wrote in the one, like, I did a Twisted Metal one, and I feel like I come off like an idiot because I don't know anything. But I was on the floor during Sony's...
This is really unfair.
During Sony's conference, so I walked up there, into the booth with Michael and saw Twisted Metal and was like, what the fuck? What is that? No.
Yeah, and I was
Jaffe said that's not going to happen, so what is that?
Yeah. You're lying.
And then, like, 5 seconds later, okay, we're going to do an interview. I don't know what this is.
Well, they technically haven't announced it yet. The show, and Konami's press conference, their games were on the show floor for a full 36 hours before they had their press conference. So then I pity everyone who went to that press conference. And we're also announcing Castlevania Harmony of Despair. It's been on the show floor since yesterday. Also, Silent Hill, which
announcing is in quotes.
Yeah. Also, the emails will be in all caps and sent to me 3 times from the same email address. So every time they announce a game, I get 12 emails.
Technically, it's Silent Hill 24.
Yes. One for every otter pop.
What were we talking about?
We're games journalists and we love to hate. You know what? I'm going to say
I call that an angle.
I didn't hate this E3 at all.
Not at all.
I didn't hate a single...
I had a fantastic time. And I wasn't invited to shit, by the way. Yeah. Didn't go to any parties for the most part.
Actually, my biggest irritation with E306, which is the last time it was really this big and this interesting, was every time I tried to get to an appointment, and this still happened but less frequently, I'd get trapped behind somebody really slow moving.
Oh, that shit!
And they just sort of I know I complain about this a lot, but
no, I agree.
Somebody really slow moving, and then they just stop and look around.
Yes.
And then there's an oncoming rush of people around them, so you kind of have to just shove past.
No, it's literally like being back in high school when you're trying to get to your class and the fucking girls stop and just start talking and you're like, are you aware of 3-dimensional objects? Like, you are taking up physical space.
But there's a TV over there. I have to stop and
TVs
stare.
everywhere.
Exactly.
I was trying to get to an appointment, walking quickly through the show floor, and this guy right in front of me just stops and turns with his camera to take a picture, and I'm like, I almost run into him. Like, what was so important that he had to look over? It was a screen with Brunswick Bowling on it.
The last thing I saw.
Every time I try to get through the crowd, like between the West Hall entrance and our shitty little war room, it was like, if I had food in my hands, it was like drunken kung fu. I basically just had to master the art of like swaying my body around in my hands. Like, oh shit!
The thing, the last headset. The last thing I saw walking into the show floor when we were walking into our war room to get our luggage to leave. Last thing I see, walking up to Capcom. We walk past Capcom's booth. It's right by ours, and the glitz and lights and the Dead Rising motorcycle and the zombie in the cage is all still going on. I see some guy lean up. This happens right in front of me. He leans as if to lean against something.
I know where this is going.
And I see him and it's like out of a cartoon where he puts his hand up like, I'll just put my elbow here, and completely falls over. And what looked like some kind of stand was a fucking was a trampoline. was a giant trash can full of aluminum cans.
And it's funnier.
So it was a recycling bin, and it was as tall as he was. So it he goes down and then cans everywhere, and I'm like, the most unnatural thing is cans all over the E3 show floor.
I mean, it's very Hanna-Barbera with the kabongi and the clang.
The thing is, because we were exhibitors this year on the floor, we got to see the floor as they were putting it together.
Yeah.
So the whole first 2 days, the E3 is open air, and there was a sunset in it, and there was a breeze. It was like being on a fucking alien planet. It didn't make any sense. It's supposed to be a dank, fucking stagnant air. And what? Oh, light! Oh my god! But it was a good E3.
Yeah, light is rough.
If you want to hear hate, go to TalkRadar 10. There you go. That's us.
God
miserable.
damn it! I really had wanted to compare this one because this was so fucking cool, man. Like the Nintendo alone, I'm just still in awe of how they reclaimed everything.
Are we doing a break, or are we just going into?
Yeah, we're just going to go into it. I don't have time to edit. Nothing is going to be edited in this cast. Apologies now, but come on, we've done a little.
But I guess we can just go into kind of who we think won E3, and
I know I'm giving it to the people who made a 3D fucking portable system.
Yeah, the thing is, it's kind of well, who won E3? Everybody's going to argue about that, but I mean, this year, I don't know. We were joking after we went to the awful thing Sunday night for Connect. Which
holy shit! I found out from somebody in the know how much that cost.
Oh, really? I'm gonna guess.
Anybody want to guess how much the tall thing we spoke of, the Cirque du Soleil,
which was the worst moment, as you'll see on our E3 awards that went up today. It's the worst thing about this year's E3.
How much do you think that cost?
Horrible way to start the show. I was like, God damn it, this week's gonna be the worst fucking week of my life.
I'm gonna guess $600 million.
Higher.
Okay, I'm going to realistically guess 2 million?
Higher.
Good Jesus Christ.
10 million.
Lower.
6 million.
Higher.
8 million.
Higher.
9.3 million.
Lower. It's 9 million.
Okay.
9 million.
Wow.
$9 million. I'll be baffled if it sells $1 million worth. In its first week, because they're re-releasing a new 360 without the thing that it's designed to look like.
They're Microsoft.
I know.
Pocket change for Bill Gates.
But they should have just given me $9 million, and I would have written, Kinect looks all right, and that would be better press than they got.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead
one person said Kinect looks all right. That would be better.
Because all of it led up to this and then the games, when you finally get to the and 1 million years ago of evolution led to this moment, Wii games in 1080p.
Come worship an Xbox logo.
God, well, we talked about that, I think, in the first E3 conference with old Ryan McCaffrey of OXM, which was the first simulcast for us.
The first simulcast. And I'm going to just say my first appearance on KOXM.
There you go.
Yeah. Been extremely unwanted the whole time.
But, we were all joking, whoa, well, Jesus Christ, after Microsoft's press conference with all of that motion control bullshit.
who are normally, really want to make it a point to wow the games press. Mm-hmm. Way more so than just wow, I don't know.
They really hit you. I mean, they started it with Black Ops, and it's like, okay, well, it's just third party, but it is a big showpiece, so fair enough.
It was almost a ball drop.
So then they spent all that time on Kinect, and it's like, this is dumb, and the games you're showing are not taking advantage of this thing. It's not interesting. Like Dance Central, I thought actually did look neat, and when you played it, I was like, that is kind of cool technology.
It's ridiculous.
But that's Harmonix. I expect Harmonix to do something cool with a music game, so hats off to them for doing that. Mm-hmm. And then Your Shape, which we all want to make fun of because it's a yoga game, was also an interesting tool. But as far as the games with Kinect Adventures and Kinect Sports Challenge or whatever, those look terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I played one of them, and it's like, I never will do this again. Like, I'll do it only if I have to. Like, I would never pay money for this shit.
I think I talked about it on the last E3. Yeah. I hated it.
I blame Carnival Games for selling so goddamn well.
God. Yeah. But then we were joking, like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if... Because we know Sony's going to have Move out the ass, because the E3 show floor was already adorned in Move everywhere. Mm-hmm. So we knew that was going to be a major part of it. Wouldn't it be funny if Nintendo just came up and like, oh yeah, here's Kid Icarus and a new Zelda and all the shit you ever wanted, and then that's exactly what they fucking did.
It was almost a practical. I reminded the cool kid in school was like, "You're still doing that, dude?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like
the rest of us got to move on."
And like it really hit like here's my play-by-play of the Nintendo press conference. It starts with the new Zelda, which is like, okay, we knew this was going to happen, so. What's the deal?
That's how they kicked it off.
They didn't even close it with it. They didn't lead with it. They
didn't care.
Yeah, they didn't close with it. They didn't build up to like...
Everything we have is awesome. We're like,
so they go, Zelda.
Miyamoto's here.
And Miyamoto's here. And then the thing is when it's like, oh, Motion Plus, and then the tech wasn't working, has been mentioned. I've mentioned it several times this week. But it really was interference.
I should say I played it.
You went and played it later.
It was astounding.
It works
really
well.
That was how I thought motion controls are supposed to work. I don't have a lot of experience with Wii Motion Plus.
Right.
Everything you did with your wrist worked. Like I feel like I've been punished and I've been doing everything wrong with every Wii game beyond bowling or something easy that I've ever played.
Right.
But just even that sword charge hold, like
you hold it up
whatever
in the air.
Angle you throw it, you do a slash at, it will throw it out at that angle, and I know that's going to come into play somewhere. I can't wait.
There's some enemies you can't hit but from a distance.
Oh, I so can't wait.
So that it's going to change. It really will affect the way that the puzzles are designed. Is this motion stuff to it? But it's not just like dumb like Twilight Princess, just waggle, waggle, waggle. It really does matter the way you're doing it and whatever. But it didn't look that great in that conference because the stuff was messing up, and I was kind of like, I don't know, man. This is not looking that great, and it still kind of looks like another Zelda game. But later I found out why it was, and I wrote an article, so if you want to read that, it's there.
Pretty. It looks like a fucking painting.
They're messing with the flow of it. It's not going to be like every other. It'll be very similar to every other Zelda. But
like Donkey Kong Country.
Everything looks really chunky, which is kind of weird, except Link, who looks amazing.
Yeah.
You were talking about how Link moves. Who was talking about
Michael
that?
Was.
Michael was. It's like the closest to a real person that I've seen that character move.
Link usually runs like a hyperactive child, a little bit.
Hyperactive robot. It's always very consistent. And like there was actually like weight to like the way his shoulders move.
Yeah.
Like it looked almost like the closest thing that I can compare it to is the day before at the Microsoft press conference watching that Star Wars Kinect-enabled game, and it's like the Jedi on screen moved like a real person because it was mapped to a real body's movements.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Link looks like. Which is really cool.
And then after Zelda, I think the next thing they did was Mario Sports Mix, which everyone's forgot happened.
Oh my god!
And
like no one's here.
Just Dance,
and then Just Dance 2, and I'm like, God damn it! Are they?
Everyone's also forgotten.
And it's like this is really going to be just as bad as the last one. Like that Zelda game probably is going to be good, but that's all they had to show. Mario Sports Mix is literally all the sports you don't want to play. Like
they finally did it. They like wrote themselves into a party corner.
Yeah, and then the next thing they show is Wii Party, and I'm like, God damn it, this is fucking terrible. And then it's like they were like, all right, like Reggie should have just said, all right, enough fucking around, all right, here we go. God, like Kirby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, who cares, new Kirby? Whoa, my God, that looks so much fun. And then like it turns, I played it, and it's fucking adorable, and it just made my heart melt playing that game. Like it not only looks cute, all these little touches are lovely, and the graphics look like nothing else, and the way the world collapses and stretches, and it looks like it's made out of fabric and cloth, and like Yoshi's Story was crayon, and this is like this world made of clothing, and it's really neat.
Yeah.
And it was just cool. It's another like Canvas Curse for DS kind of game where Kirby isn't using his normal I eat it and take its power, and that's it. And we'll just make another game with 10 levels and call it a day.
Will ever even do that again?
Well, he did it in Squeak Squad. He did it in Kirby Super. So he's,
I think before Kirby.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
They announced GoldenEye, which
and then GoldenEye.
I'm not sure if
it was interesting, at least.
It was something.
I'm sure it'll be better than the last game to have the name.
Yeah, Rogue Age.
Exactly. Yeah.
So and then GoldenEye was like, okay, I'm interested. I'm curious. And then they said, okay, here's Golden Sun. I am interested still in that, and that looked pretty cool. And then. Oh, and then the new Donkey Kong, too. And it's Donkey Kong Country, and it's made by Retro Studios and Megatrix Prime, so shut up.
We got it all.
And then we're like, okay, well, I guess that's it. Oh, by the way, there's a new 3DS. What the fuck is that? And it's got Kid Icarus on it! And then, I have not, and then I literally, that's the moment when he said Kid Icarus and that trailer started, and the moment I was like, fucking like reverting age backwards like every second that went by from 29, 28, 27, 26, and like I ended up at 5 years old right when the scene where it shows Pitt flying around all the lasers and the music is soaring and I'm like, oh fuck, like I got chills and I haven't had that happen to me.
Oh my god.
I don't actually remember the last time that happened to me.
No.
Well, maybe the Trico trailer. Which was really, like, moved me.
I can't.
But, like, that was... And it's weird, because I don't have, like, a lot of affinity for Kid Icarus as a franchise or anything.
Oh, yeah. I think it was, like, largely a terrible game I loved a lot for...
But for some reason, like, it was like, no, we're listening to you guys, and you've asked for this for so long, and we waited till we could do something actually cool with it.
This looks crazy.
And then also in the same time, which you didn't realize until, like, halfway through it, wait, this is a 3DS game, and I thought it was a Wii game the whole time. That means this system is already more powerful than a PSP, and looks better and has cooler functionality, as it should, because it's a much newer system. But then Sony didn't counter with anything. It's just
they countered with Marcus.
They countered with a guy to tell you, no, man, it is still cool. No, you got no money for no new system?
This is what real gamers use. They use a PSP. No, they fucking don't.
They do not.
They use a PS3, a 360, or a PC.
Yeah. And if I have to take something on the road, it's still my DS because the battery will last through the flight.
Well, let's go through the awards.
All right. But that's who we thought. I mean, I don't know. Michael, do you want to defend Sony in some way? Like, I thought the Move stuff was all derivative and bad, but I didn't play it, so I can't.
Well, here's the thing. I forget who said this to me.
Real quick, though, I don't think we touched on it in the last podcast. The 3DS is fucking amazing.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I finally got my hands on it. I couldn't believe it. When they say no glasses, it means like I don't know. That's why I hate 3D because I have to put on my glasses and put on another pair of glasses.
It's really amazing.
To take it off and like the one I was Pilot Wings. I'm like, this is a little disappointing. And right when my demo's ending, I'm like, some fucker put the slider down. That's why this isn't working. And then I push the slider up. I'm like, no. I need to finish this. And the person on the floor let me. It was phenomenal. I had so much fun with the 3D.
The slider is so amazing because you flip that thing and you can watch. It's this perception that like man was probably never meant to experience of watching a 3D thing collapse back into 2D.
Yeah.
And then what? And then you push it again in depth, and now it's not like it doesn't look like a screen. It doesn't hurt my eyes at all.
Yeah.
It's like looking in a box, and there's just things in it. It doesn't make fucking sense.
If you hate it, it goes away. Like just like that.
If you don't want it, it goes away. Although it does kind of negate the purpose of the thing, but whatever. It's still a more powerful DS if that's all you're really after.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all. I just wanted to like really say like I couldn't have been like I had to warm up to the DS. I tried to warm up to the Wii and maybe got to some sort of neutral ground with the Wii. But the 3DS was the moment I saw it. Like this is fucking amazing. The only thing I'm a little not sure about is that analog stick because I'm not too. That wasn't too.
Pilot Wings. Oh, I love it.
I was playing Star Fox 64, which I know like the back of my hand.
I couldn't find. There was like all these things on the 3DS, like all over the place. And like, what is this? It's a trailer. Get me out of here! You had like 3 minutes and they shoot me away.
The best thing was the Snake Eater trailer. So whatever Kojima ends up pulling out with Snake Eater is a must-play, must-see thing because it's incredible.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So Michael, Sony, like Twisted Metal, I was really excited about.
The Sony press conference was kind of ups and downs, and I think it was Henry pointed out earlier today that if they hadn't spoiled half the surprises.
Yeah, that's true.
It would have been a much better press conference if we hadn't been expecting to see Infamous 2, if we hadn't been expecting to see Killzone 3, etc., etc., etc. It wouldn't have been like, fuck, they just showed us this. Why are they showing it to us again?
Yeah, and all their really great new stuff was like Portal 2, which has nothing to do with Sony, really.
Yeah, but I mean, Gabe Newell was there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I said pretty much what I think of the conference in our reactions thing. But I think Sony has this problem where they always front load their conferences with lots of bullshit about their position in the market and how they're increasing their lead, whatever that means, and delivering on the promise of a 10-year console, blah, 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 blah. And some of the stuff they did show that was new.
Like their partnership with Coke?
Oh. Good God. Why did that happen?
That was like, I remember that happening. I was like so bored, and then like everybody started clapping and hooting, and like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you assholes? And I look up from my notes, and it's like, oh, Kevin Butler's walking on stage. Okay, now I understand.
Now it makes all the sense.
And then he comes out and does 5 minutes of comedy, and I'm like, that's pretty good. And, he took, there were a lot of digs at Microsoft and Natal. Jack Tretton came out and was like, oh, welcome to our poncho-free event. And,
we're so easy.
And it's like,
Panzer Dragon.
Some of the points that, like, Kevin Butler was making, like, oh, well, our motion control has buttons, which you need to play games. It's like, that comes off as a little lame. Yeah. But somebody else pointed out, I think Move might actually have the upper hand in the long run because while Kinect is much neater technology that doesn't require a controller, how badly do you actually want to play all your games standing up?
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing with Move. It's more like the Wii where you can play it sitting down.
Yeah. And we know how quickly that like Games Press kind of just left the Wii alone because of that.
Exactly.
It's like,
and the thing is, it's like I tried out Move. I didn't think it was all that different from the Wii. Honestly, I didn't really enjoy it. I may buy it. I probably won't use it very much. I may buy it because it's part of my job.
Like, the thing is, like, we're not all inherently against motion controls and fuck them forever. It's just like,
no, it's just do something interesting with it.
It's like Nintendo introduced it, so you can almost forgive them for just making Wii Sports as the launch game because, I mean, this is a great way to introduce everyone to this concept of motion controls. And then when Sony does it 4 years later, what are their games? It's the same shit Nintendo did 4 years ago. What's the game that they showed that was like, no, here's the Move game that is an actual evolution of this technology? What the fuck was it? I didn't see anything. I'm willing to be...
lights out. Look, our guys are gritty. They're not cute.
Yeah, and it's like, but it's one-to-one punching. One, no, it's not one-to-one punching. And two, it's just close enough that I suck at it. And
I kept hearing, like, that was one of the many buzzwords was one-to-one.
One-to-one.
One-one.
And I just kept getting so frustrated. That hasn't been achieved.
No, it hasn't.
At all by anyone.
I mean, it is in certain games, but for the most part, it's just
close,
it's like.
But it's not.
I played SOCOM 4 with the Move.
Motion capture in 3D movies is 1-to-1.
Yeah.
This is not 1-to-1. This is a stick that can tell I'm rotating it.
I had to sit through an hour-long presentation of Move tech demos.
That sounds awesome.
It was so awesome.
It sounds like typical Sony. Like, let's get really clinical and tell you why
that is
fire
exactly
burns.
What it was. It was an hour of my life I will never get back telling you shit I already know.
They're literally the kind of people that they'd do a huge explosion and then tell you, well, here's why pyrotechnics works. The two chemicals merge together, and when that happens, you get a reaction.
But one guy one of the developers who was demoing it said, somebody asked about the balls, and it's like, well, no, the balls are necessary to...
Balls are necessary.
Balls on top of the wands, and it's like, these are necessary for the eye to see exactly where it is. And what these are is it's like the little balls you see on motion capture outfits, except that, what we use in motion capture is actually much, much better than this. This is like consumer-level technology. And so it's like, that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Okay, and... But, like, again, using it to play SOCOM 4, part of it is I really hate playing shooters on the Wii. I don't like having to hold my hand out and point a wand at a screen to look around. But it was much more sensitive than the Wii Remote. That's something.
I still don't want people to sell me consumer-level technology and tell me it's a revolution and it's one-to-one.
Yeah, that was part of my other...
That piece of honesty was at least a bit refreshing.
Surprising.
Yeah.
Wait, they only said it to you behind closed doors.
Well, yeah, because what was the banner ad on the front of the LA Convention Center?
This changes everything.
This changes everything. And I know that's their own hyperbole, but it's still like, don't say that because it's wrong and it's fucking lying. You didn't change anything. You made a arguably more precise thing. But then when you play Wii Motion Plus, I'm like, that seems pretty fucking accurate too.
Yeah.
There aren't many games that use it, but when I played Red Steel 2, I really liked Motion Plus. Playing Skyward Sword, I enjoyed the Motion Plus there as well. And Conduit 2 is going to use it in shooting as an FPS, so like I'd love to see how they implement it. So I don't know. Like I'm still not. Wii is still a system that's going to fucking sit there until Kirby and Donkey Kong come out.
No, there were still some games like that use the move to get excited about. I think Sorcery looks like a tech demo to me.
Yeah.
But there's a potential for something interesting to develop there. But I just don't like the idea of them trotting out a game and saying like, rather than we were working on this game and they gave us this technology and we thought, wow, this will change how we approach the game. It's very clearly we looked at the technology and we thought, what can we do with this? And we made this game.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of Nintendo's entire philosophy.
Yeah.
And I still can't get over the fact that I can be happy about Nintendo games. Like
I know.
It's been almost like 10 years.
You can do something I'm not going to complain about.
I did say there are things here to be excited about. And one of them is Heroes on the Move, which
that's a cool idea.
I can't get excited about that just because of what it is. It's like, wow, Sly Cooper and Jack and Ratchet, all the characters that made the PS2 great are in one game together.
That's really cool.
On the other hand, it's developed by Nihilistic.
What did they do?
They did Marvel Nemesis.
They
did Conan.
Ooh.
And apparently they did Vampire the Masquerade Redemption.
Which was better, Masquerade or Redemption?
It's the same game.
I know, but it's like 2 words. Pick a word. Masquerade.
It's based on Vampire the Masquerade. Blah blah blah.
That's
blah.
just too many words, man.
Yeah.
Descriptor.
And I will say, Killzone 3 looks really good. Infamous 2 looks really good and plays really good. I'm really excited for
the Sly Cooper collection. I can't wait.
That too.
Yeah. I'm really excited.
It's going to be in 3D. Don't you want to buy a Bravia just to play that?
Nope.
Nope.
Well, we have one, a small one.
Yeah, but
now
you need a new one.
Do I need
3D one?
Do I need a new one?
Yes.
I bought it like last week.
If you want to play 3D, you have to buy a new one.
I bought it today.
It's time to get rid of your old Bravia.
Get rid of that fucking day-old Bravia.
Yeah, fuck that thing. That's old.
God,
you need to buy an expensive TV with expensive glasses.
Here's another reason I'm pissed at Microsoft and Sony this E3. They fucking negated all the shit I bought to make Carolyn's separate game room.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get a new 360. We'll get this Elite Black 250 gig Final Fantasy 360. Hey, and then literally 3 weeks later, we'll announce a new Black 360 that's smaller and $300 and has the wireless adapter built into it, which was $100 extra for me as well. So fuck you. You just spent all that money, and I got a small Bravia to go on the TV in the room, and also that won't work with all the new 3D games. So I also bought a TV that's now out of date 3 weeks after we bought it. Fuck you both for constantly fucking with your technology. Can you release one thing and leave it alone? For 1 year, leave it alone.
That's another thing that pisses me off.
Consoles used to be the same for 5.
The Sony conference.
And the days are too long now.
Trenton and various other people kept saying, we'll include the regular version and the 3D version, or the regular version and the Move version on the same disc. Like, this is a surprise?
You should.
Like, and then at one point he said, like, it'll include both the regular version and the Move version on the same Blu-ray. It's like getting 2 games in one.
No, it's not.
Like, no, it isn't. It's like getting one game with 2 different control options. What the fuck is wrong with you?
When I had PC games, I could plug in a joystick and map it to. It's just like what? Dude. That's not a different game. That's an option, a setting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's terrible.
So can you imagine Nintendo saying, you can play it with the Wii Remote, or you can turn the Wii Remote sideways and play it like that, or you can plug in a classic controller. It's like getting 3 games on the same disc!
What a value.
Wait a minute. We have multiple skins for our controllers. That's like 25 games.
The only thing Nintendo could have done to, like, 100% just like
new console.
I wouldn't go so far as a new console because I knew that wouldn't happen. But they're like, we found a way to do a patch through to download to make it 720p. So that's there down too, and all the old games will automatically up-res for some magic reason.
Yeah,
and
so now if they had magic,
so now go home and what if they were like, and you didn't know this, but we built Mario Galaxy 2 with that in there. So it's going to download. So now you go home right now, play Mario Galaxy 3,
And we also built an online infrastructure
that works.
And
we don't have friend codes.
Yeah,
I mean, all those same problems. Nintendo still has the same problems. I won't play a game online. The games still look like shit on a lot of TVs.
Like, we don't expect that. We know that can't be fixed now. Yeah. We know the Wii isn't going to become HD overnight, and they're not going to fix the infrastructure.
And if you don't care about like 2D kind of games, Kirby and Donkey Kong won't mean anything to you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll still be fun, but it's not like a. It was very much a crowd-pleasing moment.
Well, I kind of felt like with the press conference, the general tone was like, look, okay, we know the Wii's on its way out. Here's some really cool games to help you squeeze the last bits of fun out of it while you wait for the 3DS to come out.
Yeah.
That's our real successor system.
Which they claim is 2011.
Yeah.
March 2011 is what seems to be the accepted date. Yeah. And that makes sense to me because that seems like a weird time frame, though, because Pokemon Black and White will come out around the same time, and that seems really weird that they would do that.
And when I say the Wii's on its way out, I don't mean like people are no longer buying it. Obviously, it's still wildly successful, but I mean it's not really that
the development is
for us.
The development of like what we would consider a serious game is drying up because they showed Epic Mickey, which was really interesting, and Chris has plenty to say about that. You can read all 9,000 words of it.
Eventually,
sometime in 2013 when the game has been out for 3 years. But
you're being mean.
No. Accurate.
Half the words are, "Oh, Warren Spector, it's so big."
Whatever, man. You don't have the relationship with Warren Spector that I do. You really wouldn't understand.
No,
but
we're practically best friends right now.
I guess we were going to move in.
I'm going to call Warren.
Mr. W. So I guess we were going to move into really quick to kind of close this all out. We were going to go through the E3 awards that we wrote, that we literally wrote and posted today.
Yeah.
And came up with them in an airport bar last night. Mm-hmm. So if you don't like them, I'm really sorry. The general tone of this was interesting in that, like we said at the beginning, they weren't all... I don't know. I feel like the last several E3 awards, it's like, a shooter got it, and then a shooter got another one, and then a shooter got another one. And then this year it really wasn't like that.
Like we were saying, we all kind of forgot that Medal of Honor and Killzone and that stuff were there. We were kind of...
And even things like Dead Space 2, which I know I'll play.
Which I saw, and I loved it. I loved the fucking kid killing in it.
Yeah.
But it was... I expected this.
I forgot about it. And Crysis 2, I completely forgot I saw that.
Yeah, and I do want to play Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. I thought that looked really cool. And that's of all the Need for Speeds, I love when they reduce it back to cops and robbers.
I like that, but it also just kind of looks like drive in front, brake.
Yeah,
I don't know if it'll be that. If it'll be my cup of tea.
I didn't like it when I played it.
As a British person might say.
A British person. So our E3 awards, we try to have a little fun with them. The first one, most graphics.
Most graphics.
A game
let's all repeat it.
A game with the most graphics. And this year was the first time we had E3 like badges to put around on the games.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was really cool seeing people that listen to the show there. And some people came by our little war room too. Were like, "Hey, you guys games radar?" So.
Yeah, and one was like, "Hey, what do you guys?"
Yeah, so there were some people like, "So what do you guys do? We video games? Like, oh, do you make games?" Like, people had no idea.
Can you up with the developer because we've got this technology.
God, that lady, fuck. Didn't even offer a single hand job. Jesus Christ!
What? No. Some lady came by looking for a. I just need to know how to get hooked up with the developer because we've got this technology and do we go to the big guys? Do we go to the little guys who are more likely to work with us?
Wait a minute. How much technology was she talking?
Lots of technology.
All right.
And there were also these
much technology.
I can't believe you weren't more
There were
receptive.
these little weird helicopter remote control AR drones. They were next to us going.
So awesome.
They were really cool.
That's not a video game. It's really cool, but it's not a video game.
Nintendo every 5 minutes would play what sounded like the saxophone solo from that song Baker Street.
Oh, God.
Yeah, over and over.
I can't get it out of my head now. Motherfuckers. We need to close with that song.
Goodness.
That's the Duke's theme somehow. Most graphics, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which...
It has a lot of graphics.
There's any 10 seconds of that game, more graphics than any other game.
It's got way more graphics. And I would argue more gameplay.
Too many.
It also has a lot of gameplay. They tightened up all the graphics, all the gameplay.
Oh, man.
It's
Level 3 is crazy, guys.
Yeah. Those graphics are so tight now.
But it's just this visual fucking kaleidoscopic just colors and the character models look great and the animation is freakishly smooth and everyone's animated so perfectly, and it's just an amazing game to see.
Just a bucket of hard candy melted into a rainbow of fighting. I don't know.
To a rainbow of metaphors.
The runner-up is for a ride.
Looking at a picture of Gabe Newell, and I just love the fact that he dressed like he was coming in for his 10th grade picture.
I saw his shirt, and I was like, yeah, glad you dressed up for the big day.
That's what I was saying to Chris. Like, you could put Gabe Newell in the most expensive tuxedo in the world, and he would still look sloppy.
It may not matter.
Tyler, the runner-up for most graphics was Rage.
Yes.
You were describing why id's technology is better than Crysis's engine, Crytek?
I was kind of talking about it. Like, I can't say technically,
right?
Like, which one's more powerful.
Right, yeah,
I don't know that depth. But looking at Crysis versus looking, and I saw Rage being played back when I was in Vegas with Bethesda. Crysis, I think that Crysis looks really sterile to me. And even like Crysis, the original with the jungle, to me it looks kind of like you're supposed to be in this lush jungle.
Right.
And to me, it just kind of looks bland.
It looks like too perfect.
And Crysis 2 is very much like it's New York now, and to me, again, looks like aliens in New York. Look at all these hard edges. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was cool watching the buildings collapse.
Yeah,
like, that was a cool moment.
It's still like,
but it seemed to look very much like Modern Warfare.
Yeah, it's still one of the best engines out there. But then seeing Rage on id Tech 5 and the characters were animated, and I'm going to mime them.
Right.
Which the listeners won't see that, but if you can imagine like a character just like being perfectly animated and looking human and like really cool and like, oh, this is Crazy Joe and he looks crazy and he's
so the picture like it looks like their faces are really emotive. I'm just
the
guessing.
faces look really good. Like they somehow they managed to look really realistic and human.
I'm guessing this guy is a fan of England.
Yeah, he's got a Union Jack painted all over.
Probably. I don't know. Oh, and I mean, like what I saw when I saw Rage being played was like not only is the engine graphically beautiful, but like everything's procedural. Like there were like dudes doing backflips off of shit and running, and I'm like, oh, these scripted enemies are coming at us, and then it's like no, they just run around the level and they jump off of poles and swing, and they do that all on their own. It'll be different every time, and I'm like, wow, and this is on a 360, and it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of graphics in Rage. It looks really good.
In conclusion,
a lot of graphics.
A lot of graphics. Next
it's
award,
really pretty.
Best game we know nothing about is Kingdoms from Crytek.
Yeah, I think we just saw like that one brief trailer.
It's just that trailer, that live action.
During Microsoft with like some gladiator greasy dudes trudging.
Which, based off that trailer, I couldn't be less fucking interested in this game. Like, you have to show me something besides fucking Deadliest Warrior commercial.
I feel like we're saying it's the best game we know nothing about because we know nothing about it, so we assume it must be good.
Well, it's Crytek, so it has to be.
Well,
good.
because they're hype. Like anytime they don't tell you about something, they're hyping it. And, like we're like, okay, it must.
The runner-up though, Journey. I actually am a little excited.
This is a weird thing because yesterday, as the show was closing down, I had one last Sony appointment that apparently was put on the schedule at the last minute. Nobody knew for sure. They weren't saying what it was. There was a lot of speculations like, oh, this is where they're going to show The Last Guardian. So, like, I was tearing ass to this, appointment room, and it turns out it's Journey, which is a game by that game company, which also made Flow and Flower. And this is like their third PSN game. And it looks just fantastically pretty.
Any way they want it.
Like, the thing is, it's like, it's purposefully just very opaque. Like, you're just a guy in a red cloak in a desert. You don't know what you're doing there. You know that you can jump around and leave these big tracks in the sand. And you, like, climb the first dune you see, and then you just see over the horizon, and there's this, in the very far distance, there's this gigantic mountain that towers over everything from which a light is emanating. And so your whole goal over the course of the game is to get there. And it's interesting because Genova Chen, the creator, was there and he was explaining it and saying, most games are about empowerment. It's about, a character who wields power and uses that to triumph over adversity. And we want to create a game in which you feel powerless and insignificant and are in constant awe of your surroundings. And he likened it to, like, he talked to this shuttle pilot who, talked about people he'd met that had been to the moon. And
allegedly been to the moon.
Allegedly.
Set in Texas.
Yeah, whatever. Saying that people who went there and came back always came back changed, that they became more spiritual because of this experience of being on the moon and looking up at the Earth and seeing this, everything they've ever known, everyone they've ever loved is on this little marble floating in space. And
that Jesus holds up.
Yeah, and it gives them an idea of how insignificant they are, and he wants to replicate that in a game. Which that's a pretty interesting goal. And there's also like a multiplayer component where it's just sort of always on, but it's like every once in a while your game will just kind of overlap with another person's game, and you'll just meet another person, and like you can choose to hang out with them or you can leave them alone. He likened it to it's like being on a hike, and sometimes on a hike you'll just come across someone else, and you can join up with them and hike with them and experience things together, or you can just go off on your own.
Can I write now that I reckon that Journey is art? Just to get it out of the way.
Yeah, no, it's art.
Just to be the first. Just to be the first article about it.
I'm just repeating things that I heard.
No, it actually sounds amazing.
I mean, Flower was like the first one of the first PS3 games. Definitely the first PSN game I played through and was like I really loved.
It really is a fantastic.
So
game.
if it looked, I mean, just this one screen, I'm already like, wow, that seems pretty cool to me.
Yeah. I look forward to it.
Moving on. Best ammo for internet memes, Dance Central's Kassan Crooker.
He looked funny.
He looked funny, but he could dance. Chris had a demo with him for Dance Central, which we have the video of, and I may post the...
someday.
I have a flip cam version of that I may just post on YouTube.
Do whatever.
Okay, fine. He's dancing to Poker Face.
Chris doesn't care.
But him dancing to Dance Central, which, I mean, I do think that game, it's Harmonix's game, and I think they did have good technology there, and... When he was playing it in front of us, it did work as they showed it. It was tracking the dance moves, and then you string the dance moves together to do a routine. It's a cool idea and like one of the few inventive uses I saw of Kinect there. But you're showing it to a room of games journalists who can't enjoy anything. They have to make fun of it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Including all of us when we're watching it. So, we're not exempt from this, but it's just unfortunate. Like... Yep, within a second, Guile's theme goes with everything is dubbed over Dance Central, which is fucking hilarious. And there's probably someone animated GIF of just him like pumping his hand in the air. But
totally. And the runner-up is that Nintendo 3DS sizzle reel that had Bowser like coming out of the DS burning Reggie's face in fire. Like that's got to be on Gaff. So fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. It was really funny. I enjoyed that.
I did like that they made that a little bit mischievous and mean, where he like picks up the DS and sees, his bosses being chased by Bowser, and he's like,
yeah. I hope they die, and then I can run the company.
Yeah.
Oh, Reggie.
That's not what I meant. Best booth we didn't expect, Nexon's Vindictus, and more specifically, the cat hat that they were giving around with the big paws, which is a very popular item on the show floor.
It's a nice cat hat.
It's a cat hat. Carolyn happily got one, and it's a twit pic of it on my Twitter. None of us know about Nexon, so let's just move right along.
Were they giving those giant bags? Those were weird.
There were huge bags that looked like
What is it with Asians and giant bags at conventions?
And they looked like skirts.
I was sitting outside and I saw...
guess a little, but it's...
So this woman was
everybody at E3 has a giant fucking bag. What are you talking
about?
Now
now that I've inserted it into the zeitgeist, see how many of them are Asian from here on out. Love giant fucking Nexon bags.
Big Nexon bags. But there was this woman walking toward me, and I kind of did a double take because she was I didn't think she had been out of the convention because she was Chinese and probably 85 years old. And then I realized she's carrying one of the giant Nexon bags and two other bags full of swag, and I just realized the oldest E.T. She looked like E.T., but E3 attendant had walked past me.
No one over 80 admitted. Runner-up for that booth was Disney, Chris.
Oh, yeah, the Disney booth was fantastic.
The Tron alone was...
I've had to try and...
Tron was awesome.
Try and sing the praises of the new Disney Interactive Studios, but if you don't believe me by now, Tron, I don't know, they all focus on making good games. It was like the, Hannah Montana Sing It bullshit, but then Epic Mickey, which there was never not a line. It's a great booth with David Garibaldi painting. What do you call it? Those fast splatter painting to a DJ playing, and he dance around. You may be able to see it on the TalkRadar 106 page. And the Tron shit, you can't you can't deny the Tron shit.
Yeah, I didn't see the game. I saw the Wii game on display, which I admittedly passed by because it was a Wii game. But the booth was fucking amazing. That blue glowing everywhere.
The blue glowing controllers. Like I'm trying to find a place to put those controllers right now.
All right, next one. Sequel that validates the existence of sequels was Portal 2. I only really heard it like secondhand. But like the co-op sounded insane for Portal 2. I didn't get to play it or anything.
Everyone who played it said it was amazing.
Yeah, Logan Decker from
just portals everywhere.
PC Gamer, he raved about it for a while, and then Eric, who also was there.
Gary Steinem of PTOM. Steinman.
Whatever. Steinish.
Runner-up
was Kirby's Epic Yarn, which
I mean,
it's weird here because Portal 2 is truly just the one sequel, whereas Epic Yarn is like the 19th Kirby game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I guess as a runner-up, it really is a nice.
Well, it's rare that you see a sequel just completely reinvent.
Yeah,
what makes a game interesting.
It's so unique. It's watching
at the same
Kirby
time retaining the old gameplay.
Yeah, it's really love it. And then the next one is most creative sequel with a K. You'll see why, because the first one's Kirby's Epic Yarn, because it is a very
screenshot.
It is the same damn screenshot. God damn it. Oh well. Whoops.
I had that sound effect somewhere.
The same screenshot sound effect?
No, with your reaction to the entire ordeal.
Oh well.
Oh, I see.
Oh well. Oh well. Epic Yarn.
Oh well.
No, it's just when you latch on with this piece of yarn that is your body, and it like unzips pieces of the level, and they fall down and reveal different things, or you pull the level closer to you, and when you run, you like morph into this little car. When Kirby goes underwater, it turns this cute little submarine. It's fucking adorable. And the 2-player mode is you and Prince Fluff. Running around this level together with this like really just lullaby music, and it's so fucking fine. Moving on.
What? Are
we running out of steam? What's happening?
No. I'll drink more whiskey.
Most creative sequel with a K. Runner-up. This is more specific because it's Mortal Kombat, and they spell every fucking thing with a K.
No.
I got very few. There wasn't a lot of hands-on with Mortal Kombat because it was limited.
Because George Lopez was there.
George Lopez fucking there all 3 days. But what I played, I wrote a preview on it, hands-on, and I linked it in this awards article as well on Cam's Torter.kim.
Attaboy.
Camstorter.kim. I'll have to remember that.
MortalGamesBad.kim.
Games Kim Il Dong.
Jill Dong. That's my new stage name.
The Kill Dong Factory.
Games
Kim Il Dong. He's the world's most famous North Korean porn star.
Was that his family name?
Possibly. Yes, he was destined to be in this role.
Yes.
Okay,
but no, Mortal Kombat, like it is really similar to 1 and 2.
Go.
Mr. Killbat was it looks very much like a really good mix of 1, 2, and 3. Mostly 2 and 3, honestly.
Yeah.
A lot of stages ripped right out of 2 and 3. Mostly 2.
And 4. Street Fighter 4.
But yeah, there's gameplay almost taken out of Street Fighter 4. Like you have basically the equivalent of an EX meter that you do more powerful versions of the super moves. Because like in Street Fighter, you could throw a fireball, or if you charged up your meter, you could do an EX fireball that has 2 hits instead of 1 hit. Mortal Kombat is the same thing. What? You can do a thing where Sector, he has this teleport punch where he goes out of the ground, comes up, and uppercuts them. If you play Mortal Kombat 3, you know it very well. How do you do that? But if you do that powered up one, it's a uppercut and then another hit in the air, and then it's a very juggly kind of. It's not dial a combo like Mortal Kombat 3 was, where only these button combinations together will result in a combo, and it's kind of memorization. There's still skill in pulling them off and tying them together, but this is very much like moves chained to each other, and it's more about like quick combos and not like you can maybe still get 7 hits in, but it's I don't know. It felt much more playable than like the 3D shit that it did all right, but by the time it got to Armageddon in 06, the game was just ridiculous and silly. And this is super fucking serious and dark, and the fatalities, they showed us a reel of all the fatalities. They're the most fucking vicious, violent things I've ever seen. And the damage you get from round to round stays on the character. So by the time you win a fight, you're like missing pieces of your chest, and like there was a thing where like Kung Lao still had his eyeball, but all the skin around the eye and the bone on his skull was chipped away, so his eyeball's like barely hanging in, and his throat's cut open, and he's like, victory! Like holds up his hand, and or Reptile comes up, and half of his fucking face is torn off, and it just makes it really look like these people are in this awful, awful fight. And not just like, yeah, I got stabbed 6 times with a harpoon, I'm okay. Like, this damage stays on him. Wow. And it really looks like, fuck, these guys are getting beat to death. And then the fatalities, like, Kung Lao does this thing, he cuts the guy's head off and then cuts them down the middle, and you watch all the shit inside split apart.
I saw that one, it was insane.
And then the one where you see where he throws the hat down on the ground and it's spinning, and then he grabs Sub-Zero's legs and pulls him through it. Like, I keep expecting the camera to cut away because it's one of those things like they're not going to show that, are they? Ew. And then they do it, and
through his crotch,
and it goes through his crotch, up through his head, and just. And then when you knock them through the pit, you do an uppercut, and they fall off the pit, and they land like it goes through their entire face, pushes their stomach out through their through their stomach, like their stomach comes out and is on a. It's so fucking violent. Like
that's the thing. It's like it takes a lot to shock us now.
Yeah, and
because initially it was enough to just like, oh man, that guy just landed on some spikes and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah,
like, no, it's not enough anymore. Now it's like, oh well, might as well give this an E rating.
Yeah, like Sector's fatality was like he shoots one missile and blows the guy up into like 4 pieces, so his head, arms, and torso are flying away. And then he uses 3 more lock-on missiles that do a close-up and then blow up each of the individual fucking head. And, like, there's just a head, like, a fucking, Kung Lao head grimacing, rotating in the air like, no.
No, I still had a chance.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be worth playing just to go, holy shit, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Most audibly positive reaction in the office was Metal Gear Solid Rising. I was really, like, I can't get it. It's hard for me to get excited about Metal Gear, but like, when I saw him, like, cutting those people in half and cutting the car in half, like, that dynamic seemed really interesting.
Yeah. I should maybe clarify the GR Office thing. It's like, we did go to E3.
Yeah, that was the UK guys wrote that entry, but I couldn't find a way to say in the UK without sounding like, well, fuck you guys. Like, they were in the office and we weren't.
Mm-hmm. We had some people in the office here, too.
Yeah.
Although we have no idea what their reaction was.
Yeah, I don't know what the reaction was. Other than, fuck, make new screenshots for this because there's probably new screens for it. Are you taking video of this? Yeah. But yeah, it was a really exciting moment. And then did anyone play it?
No, I don't think it was playable.
Not playable.
No.
Okay.
It looked pretty amazing, though.
Yeah.
Although I will say that chopping mechanic comes straight out of Afro Samurai.
Oh, really?
It had something very similar.
Yeah, well, even the ability to turn it in the air, like kind of pivot it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pivot.
I don't know. I don't know if it was that exact. I just remember like, oh man, I line up this line, and then like, oh man, the head and shoulders come off, and
I thought it was just
the arms fall off.
I would imagine that Rising isn't very far because like right before E3, I wrote a story about how Hader, the voice of. Is that his name?
Right.
Yeah. David Hader. The voice of Snake hadn't been contacted about it, and he's been in every Metal Gear Solid game, so everyone was like, that's weird.
Solid Snake might not be in it at all, or he might be pulling a David Jaffe on us and fucking lying about it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Solid Snake is like at least in a cameo, and it's probably just
I didn't play Metal Gear Solid 4, and I don't care, so did Snake die at the end?
No, but it's kind of like everyone agrees that it's sort of the end of the story.
It's too tight of an ending.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
I did have to watch the ending for my top 7 longest endings, and guess what was number 1?
But everyone expects at least a cameo from Solid Snake.
Yeah, I would expect so. The runner-up for that one was most audibly positive reaction in the office was Kid Icarus Uprising. Wasn't so much in the office as it just was like I was freaking out in
the show floor was freaking out.
Everyone was freaking out, and then when I talked to Henry later, he's like, "What the my god!" And then they actually, thankfully, have a screenshot of Kid Icarus flying through those fucking lasers, and seeing that in 3D in the trailer, like that's a sell moment right there. It's just each one of those lasers is a different layer, and Kid Icarus is a layer, and then this also lets you show off the graphics of the 3DS. Like that looks.
I thought it was.
You told me that's a Wii game, I'd fucking believe you. I wouldn't even question it.
Okay, done with this art. Hi, back to podcast.
All right.
Oh my God.
Adorably Deep, Little Big Planet 2. Michael, go.
Yes, I played this. I played it and I got to see a breakout session with it, and It really is one of those things where when I first heard about it and all the shit that you can do, and it's crazy, and it's like, oh, there's circuit boards that you can attach to everything, and you can put a driver's seat on this and attach the buttons to different functions, and blah, blah, blah. It just seemed really fucking complicated. So I sat down with one of the creators and one of the designers of the game, and he just kind of started explaining it to me, and it's actually very, very simple. It's like, okay, well, the thing with the microchips is, like, we took things that would take elaborate networks of pistons and all this weird mechanical shit that people would build, and we boiled it down to a chip. So now, like, if you want something to fly, you take the mover object and you put it onto a circuit board attached to this thing, and you turn off the gravity, and it'll fly, and all this other stuff. But it's just ridiculously, insanely deep. I mean, they showed off like a 3D shooter that somebody had made, and then they like kind of pulled back the veil on it, and it's like, this is what it looks like in create mode, and it's actually just like this really clever 2D thing where you're just like looking at a wall, but it's moving in such a way that it looks like you're moving forward in 3D space. And like somebody made an RTS, somebody made like this weird Ikari Warriors kind of game called Oh Damn, It's Rambo. That was
Wonderful.
really, really kind of cool. But yeah, it's also just, you know, a very, very pretty, very cute game.
Adorable.
Yeah, and that's deceptive.
Precious.
Maybe if you don't follow the game industry and you just look at the pack shot, it's like, oh, this looks like a game for little kids.
Yeah.
It is not.
It is not. It'll kick your ass.
No, little kids won't know what to do with it.
It was the runner-up to Epic Mickey there?
Yep.
Yeah.
You talk now.
Yeah, you talk.
Epic Mickey, Warren Spector. Have I said too much about it?
No.
There's like a morality system underneath all this. They weren't very clear about what was going on.
This is the first Mickey game with a morality system.
I think he was trying to say it's like the first game where you
Mickey
can color
effect.
in the environment. I'm like, Blinks the cat, and he's like, no, it's the first game where you can take away pieces of the environment just to find power-ups, and there are consequences. Like the people who, the toons who populate the cartoon wasteland will react differently to you, but to what end they weren't very clear. But they could be less helpful, they could be less hospitable. He didn't say that they'd react violently no matter what.
But Mickey can be a total dick.
He can't. Like that's the point of the article.
He is best at being
he was famous, and everybody loved him, and he became famous for being a dick. Watch Steamboat Willie. He tortures animals. He's kicking everybody.
And Eric
in the
described like one moment where he finds out that there's a cow that's lactose intolerant, and he can choose to have the sailor give the cow
there's a
ice
pirate
cream,
who's
or
in
a
love
pirate.
with the cow.
Yeah.
And he wants to give her some token of his affection. And Mickey finds out the cow's lactose intolerant, so it's like he can. Do you want to tell the rest?
Oh well,
of the story?
he can just instruct the pirate to give the cow ice cream or flowers, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if the same result for Mickey happens either way, but if the pirate gives the cow ice cream, the cow doesn't like it,
the
and
cow leaves and gets
the pirate
off
is depressed and sad and cries. Whereas if he gives the cow flowers,
but he's
they
so
go off
depressed that he
together.
gives Mickey whatever it was Mickey wanted.
Right?
Anyway.
Yeah. And the other way around, he's so happy that he gives Mickey what he wanted. So it turns out the same for you, you dick.
Yeah, it's very bizarre, and there's several different modes in the game.
Epic Dicky.
There's several different modes in the
Epic
game,
Dickeny.
and it's designed so a child can pick it up and play it like a platformer, or somebody can pick it up and play it like an RPG. And the travel missions, not completely like the Gummy Ship, are the side-scroller portions.
Right.
Oh, is that Gabe Newell standing in the background in these screenshots?
What?
There's a dude in a tight shirt.
And he's fat.
I liked when you said
sorry,
that
Gabe.
a child could pick it up and play it. It made me realize I'm starting to resent the fact that children play video games.
Yeah, fuck them.
Like, it's so annoying
Yeah.
that games have to be made so that children are accessible. Like
Fucking kids.
I didn't play video. Oh, I did when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
but I don't want them to play video games because
Speaking
they're
of
yours.
Speaking of Gabe Newell,
They're
next
mine.
award, biggest deal everyone overlooked: Steam coming to PS3.
I thought you were going to say Gabe Newell. How could you overlook him?
Oh wow!
That's mean.
And the thing here is that this was popular news, but it was written by one of the UK editors, and he did write an article like the point of this being like Steam is coming to a console for the first time, and that people were like, "Oh, that's cool." But then, I mean, that there's probably some ramifications there that are like.
I can't imagine it's going to be like. I think it's going to be Steam's technology is coming to Portal 2. In that, like, it'll use that network, but I don't think Steam, the download service, is going to be coming to PSN, the other download service that competes with it.
Exactly. You're not going to be downloading all the Steam PC games onto your PS3. It's just the same architecture.
If you can, that would be awesome, but I can't imagine Sony actually allowing that without, like, a lot of fees being paid.
This could be a case where it may be, like, maybe Sony realizes...
Getting it on the Mac was a big deal. Like, getting it on the PS3
like, they realized, like... We're fucking ourselves by like Valve is going to continue to make relevant shit, and for them to be against us for so long.
It sort of to me seems like a half-assed exclusive to where PC gets updates and new content and DLC days, sometimes weeks earlier than at 360 because the approval process. And I imagine Portal's coming, and Portal will receive things. Day of the PC. To me, and 360 won't. To me, and that'll be a huge thing to crow about for PlayStation owners.
It's Valve, to me, saying, we want to have a big audience for our games, but we like making PC games, and we want your consoles to work like PCs.
Yeah. So if you'll let us have a place to make sure your shit works.
If you'll let us just make PC games that people, I guess, could play on your consoles, then we'll do it. But
I remember I was writing something and looked up, and then, Gabe Newell, what the fuck happened?
Oh, yeah. The runner-up for that one, biggest deal everyone overlooked, is the full 3DS launch lineup, which is still very tentative, but it was amazing. Nintendo did spend a lot of time going, look at all these third parties and games that are coming, and it was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I thought they were joking.
But then they just kind of glossed them over and just showed logos. It's like they gave the impression that there was nothing to show.
They did mention, they did say Metal Gear, Assassin's Creed, these things are coming, and Kingdom Hearts. Like, they did drop some names, but then they didn't say...
But each of those is a massive announcement.
It's a big deal. And then, even then...
Metal Gear, 3DS, that could be one announcement.
We didn't know until we got the press releases later. They're like, oh, we're also making Pilot Wings Star Fox.
Yeah.
Two other things you've asked for fucking 8 years.
I can't believe they didn't mention one word of that.
Which pissed me off, too, because...
everyone keeps saying, there was an R-Wing in that 3DS demo. An R-Wing showing up in a trailer, flying out of a CG... Doesn't mean there's a Star Fox game in development. It just means that they used an R-Wing. When they said... If they would have said Star Fox 64 is also coming out, and then they announced Ocarina of Time later that day, I was at that round table, and I got to see that demo in 3D. It's really cool. Epona running around Hyrule Field in 3D. It was amazing.
How many pages are we into this?
We're doing good.
But them flubbing that announcement, the thing that pissed me off...
This is the second page out of 5. Holy shit.
No, page 5.
Skip to the end.
Page 5, don't worry about. Motion game we didn't totally hate. Dance Central, Chris, you played it.
Great. It's fantastic.
It worked. It got you off your bottom.
It worked. I actually felt good playing it. I didn't feel like I failed at it, and it very good UI, easy to get into. I don't know. I didn't expect that right away from the Kinect game.
Right.
That I've been.
Yeah. So far, it's the only Kinect game that I'm not completely fucking angry at. Children of Eden is the runner-up, which is another Kinect game that is basically Res 2 that you can also play with a controller, which is what I'll do.
Yeah, that was also the most amazing moment in the entire Ubisoft press conference, is just opening up with Tetsuya Mizuguchi demonstrating that with his back to the audience on stage.
Oh, yeah.
And turned around, introduced by Joel McHale. Like, wow, these guys are on the stage at the same time, acknowledging each other. My brain is broken. It's like seeing an anime character interact with somebody.
And the screenshot of Child of Eden in the article looks like the image is broken.
Yeah,
but apparently that's the game.
Yeah,
it's
basically like first person res.
I see.
From what they showed.
I'll definitely check that out.
Little Red X.
Best of show. The 3DS.
The 3DS, without a doubt.
We went on that already. It's fucking amazing. Runner up was Zelda, and again, this was kind of like. I know we saw shit like Medal of Honor and Dead Space. And
was that really the runner-up?
Yeah, like for some reason we just we agreed on that, and I don't know why. Because I walked away, I'm like, well, that doesn't have to be best.
I completely agree. I just figured, if I would have, if I proposed that, I would have been fought viciously.
No, everyone who played it worked, and we were tired and couldn't come up with a better alternative.
I think everybody was just so. I didn't expect to see more than like a video of it, and to actually have it playable there, and that when you're playing it looks really amazing and it's really fun to play. It's like well, that's pretty fucking significant.
But I almost feel bad because it's like such a 180 Nintendo love. It makes it look like they made one good thing, we love it again. Everything gets
several good
we're
things.
We're still incredibly skeptical. I think we all realize that.
But still, it's they were listening.
But it's we're skeptical, but let us have this for now.
Just let us have this.
It feels so good.
We're open to the possibility that it's all shit.
Like
but
we had a good.
Let
E3.
us be optimistic.
We had a good E3. Guys.
Like they mentioned briefly how the Wii is still selling, but I feel like in previous years they would just go on.
They would go on and on.
We're so successful. Yeah. Look at this shitty game. We're so successful. It was just like rubbing it in our faces. And this time they're like, the Wii's still selling really great. Now here's a bunch of great games. Have fun.
Yeah.
They addressed it like some people said it's over. That the Wii is a passing trend.
Yeah, but they just totally changed their attitude.
Well, here you go. Fuck you.
Now
you forgot that we had like 30 years worth of fans on our ass, and you don't, Sony and Microsoft. Booyah.
Well, and that's the thing that I think with that and the other press conferences were basically like copying Nintendo's attitude from the last 2 years.
It was less fuck you naysayers and more like, I know you guys have been saying this stuff, but we're doing good, and here's some really nice stuff for you. So I just felt like they
really appreciate it.
They got a little bit more modest.
It made me very happy.
They got modest, and then look at what Microsoft did.
Yeah.
Fucking Cirque du Soleil.
They literally pulled a Microsoft pulling a Nintendo, which means it's now 6 times as fucking ridiculous.
But that's all they did, and like they just overshadowed their own. Like I'm more excited about Halo Reach and Gears 3, but it was like,
Yeah,
you have Crackdown 2 coming out, which I played. Awesome.
Okay,
not one mention.
Are you going to worship it? No. You are going to worship Kinect.
Yeah, like I would have liked to have done more about Crackdown 2 and Reach and
those games didn't matter.
Fucking like even Bulletstorm was like, hey, well that's going to be over
Able
to EA's
3, like all this stuff that like, well it's Kinect. That's what we're pushing. That's what we do now.
And then we also have 2 pages of the things we hated, but. I think we need to go, I guess.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
I think we talked about a lot of stuff.
Try and ask a question.
Look
of
at
the
the article.
week
How about that?
Yeah, just go to the article.
Except that the first one is the Microsoft giving away free Xbox 360s. We haven't received any yet.
Yeah, we never got them, and again, I'm really mad about that.
And we had like 2 or 3 people there.
Yeah.
Was it 3 or 4?
It was 2 or 3. Make fun of the dumb Ubisoft breathing game, which was stupid. The battle tag, laser tag, that was stupid.
Not actually a video
press
game.
Conference.
Sony's press conference talking about Coke and dumb shit. Milo and Kate and the Wii Vitality sensor were thankfully absent because they were shitty.
Did you say Mario Taint?
Marcus.
Yeah, you heard what I said.
Poor Marcus.
Cool. Last page. Late to the Wii party. I just wanted to finally drive this home that I fucking really sick at Microsoft and Sony for making their press conferences Nintendo press conferences the same year Nintendo goes, no, we're done with that. Yeah, hopefully done. For all we know, they're going to go next year. They'll be right back to for all we know. Mm-hmm. Tech Demo wishes it was a game. Sorcery and the fight lights out. Both
Didn't we explain that?
There's a video of me and Michael playing the fight, and
really?
It's not on the site right now.
But fight plays.
It will be edited and up at some point.
Most disappointing no show. A PSP 2. That is because that's what the UK Justin Tao loves his PSP. So that's what he wrote.
So for whatever reason, it's not Last Guardian, but it's PSP2, because we were all so excited.
Yeah. Well,
a follow-up to the fucking PSP.
I mean, to be fair, I would have loved to have Nintendo goes 3DS and PSP2. That would have been cool.
Like we were saying earlier, Nintendo goes 3DS and Sony goes, the PSP people love this.
Right.
It's great. And
it's still here and relevant. I promise we won't then come back next year with another one because we got fucked.
So agreed.
And then the worst moment of E3 2010, Microsoft's Kinect unveiling, which we've fucking talked about. There's a story on the site called "This Is Your Brain on Kinect," I think, and it's a video that was shot of me, Charlie, Eric, and Andy Eddy of many publications fame. Talking about the moment right after it. And there's a picture of us in our stupid ponchos. And
I didn't know Eddie was on that too.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then the runner-up for that was sitting through the Your Shape demo twice, which Michael, I think, had to see it the second time.
Yeah, it's they played. I'm sure anybody who watched the press conferences already knows this, but they showed it during the Microsoft press conference, and then it was too long, and that turned out to be the truncated version because they did the exact same thing at Ubisoft's press conference later that same day, almost word for word, but with more. Like, and more just quips about it and, like, let's show this off now. But it was still, like, just like, they're not going to do the exact same thing. But it's like, lady gets up, lady takes off her sweater. All right, now let's do this thing. Now let's do the squat punches. It's like, at least do different moves. Motherfucker.
So for question of the week, which is in GamesEditor.com/forums, every time it's still there. Question of the week this week is an obvious one, which you'll probably already know my answers because we already talked about it. What was your favorite thing about E3 2010? Obvious question.
Hopefully you were paying attention.
We will read your answers next week in the show. For right now, Chris needs to edit this thing together, and he's still making art for it, I guess.
There will not be a link to the TalkRadar from the TalkRadar 106 front page. There will be there instead. There is a surprise.
Okay.
So go to the TalkRadar 106 page.
I like surprises.
I like surprises.
And I want to get out of here.
And thank you again, everybody.
And I apologize because I've been making it the whole time we've been talking.
And thank you again for everybody who listened to our E3 podcasts this week. And thank you for commenting. Everyone who comments. One day when we're millionaires, we will give you everyone $1 for every comment you make.
Yes. Next week.
Fact.
Big ass, real deal. Fart Explosion podcast.
Oh, man.
Tons of,
we'll be back to normal.
With more reverence and possibly some really good news for us. So,
really?
We'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Why would you, Brad?
I'm just saying, little tease.
Little tease?
What would you think? Let's get a song first. What song are we going out on?
Well,
is there any good Kid Icarus music? No.
Yes, actually.
All right.
I've been meaning to do this. Now's the perfect time. I think I have this MP3 here at work. If I don't, we'll pick something else and fuck it. I've got 10 years ago when Napster was mattered, I was looking for fucking techno remixes of video game music.
Sure.
And there was a song I just typed in Kid Icarus techno. And I found this song, and I really like it. I have no idea what the fuck it is, who made it, where it's from, if it's a DJ, if it's just somebody using Fruity Loops. I have no fucking idea what this thing is.
It's so terrible. I already know.
I don't know if you do or not. It's not from the game at all. It's nothing. I don't know what it is, but I like it.
Really?
And I have no clue what it is. So I want to play that now. And please, if anyone has any idea, tell me what it is, just so I know. And if it's somebody's work, I'll give you credit for it. But I've had this MP3 since 2001, and I really want to know. But it's called Kid Icarus Techno.
Tease for what may be coming up. Big news.
Top 7?
What would you think about Dan Amrich as permanent co-host?